they are asking, if traffic is going down, how do we know that this is working? How do we know that SEO is working because traffic is going down? And
what's your answer?
I hit them with another question,
Oh,
which is, how would you know if it's working if traffic is going up?
Gaetano, I appreciate you coming back. It's round 2.
Yeah, Ross, let's get it. Excited to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, the last time we chatted, we were in San Diego. We were out here. Yeah, we were just talking about that a little bit.
Yeah, but I did see you at Ahrefs, so that was cool.
Yeah, that's true. That triggered the thought process. Oh, I got to have this guy back out.
Yeah, I saw the email. Come back on the pod. I was like, all right, hell yeah, let's get it.
A few things have changed. A few things to talk about. Fair to say. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, the last time I was here, the topic was growing organic traffic from 0 to like massive levels.
Yeah.
And sadly now, or maybe optimistically, however you look at it, that is irrelevant. So today's topic is not going to be about organic traffic growth. It's going to be about a lot of other things.
Yeah. You can't even say that. You'd almost be like a charlatan with that title today, right?
Oh, yeah. If you came out with that title now, people would just roll their eyes at you and not take you seriously. So
Pipeline maybe, but
yeah.
So we're in a wave of, we were talking prior to the recording, like everyone's getting questions from executives about AI, LLM visibility. Where am I here? Where am I there? Like there's so many variations of these tough questions people are getting, and you've put out some great content on your Substack, on LinkedIn.
Thank you.
Covering a lot of these that people should check out. We'll have it in the show notes. But starting there, I mean, there are examples of people who will put out, there are actual SEO programs that have undoubtedly just gotten nixed completely. Yeah. Like what is that? Like, what do you think is the cause of that most frequently? What's that? And maybe it is a misconception, maybe it's not, that's causing a CEO to actually absolutely nix a program, which is wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the biggest factor is that traffic is going down. Yeah. So the top question that I'm getting at the moment, now I will frame this before I get into that. I will say that all my clients are B2B SaaS, like around the mid-market level. So you got to keep that in mind, that I speak from a place of mid-market B2B SaaS context.
Okay. So
maybe other segments see different kinds of things, patterns, trends, problems, situations, but we're talking B2B SaaS. Yeah. And from specifically the executive level, they are asking, if traffic is going down, how do we know that this is working? How do we know that SEO is working because traffic is going down? And
what's your answer?
I hit them with another question, which is, how would you know if it's working if traffic is going up?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Think about that.
Yeah. What's the line of questioning? Socratic method?
Yeah. Socratic method. Yeah. So if traffic is going up, how would you know if it's working? Or let me frame it like this. If traffic was going up, but revenue and leads and pipeline were going down, would you still be happy about the SEO program? Whoa.
So the answer should be, they shouldn't be, right? But sometimes they are, or they were, is probably the better descriptor.
Let me put it to you like this. A lot of times they don't even know. A lot of times, right? Traffic is going up and everyone's clapping. Yay, wow, traffic's going up. Everyone claps. There's momentum. Someone posts our traffic stats in Slack. You know, there's a screenshot on LinkedIn about traffic going up and everyone's just like, wow, like this must be correlated to revenue somehow. And that's another thing I wanted to bring up. I actually had a CFO say to me, you know, there used to be a very tight correlation between this linear flow. Keyword rank position, which leads to expected CTR, which leads to traffic coming to the site. We can then, look at conversion rate of traffic going to the site to lead, and then that would be correlated to revenue. We would be able to, formula all that out. With the advent of AI overviews taking away a lot of that traffic, and traffic not being the primary thing that we can really use as a leading indicator now, that whole linear equation is breaking.
Yeah.
So getting back to the question, how do you know if traffic going down? How do you know if SEO is working if traffic's going down? It's the same way you'd know if traffic was going up. demo requests, pipeline, and the overall performance from the organic channel.
Right.
That's what you need to be looking at. So it's changing the mindset of traffic to let's look at holistic overall organic channel performance, because that's the way things are going.
One thing you noted in, not to lead the horse here, but I remember seeing in one of your posts that a lot of organic and LLM may influence conversion either direct or maybe through navigational search on Google, but it's hard to see that. So there's even situations hypothetically where organic conversion is flat, but if we can fairly communicate something, the visibility is up, that could still be a positive, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors now that are different than before. So maybe let's start with like traffic being flat.
Yeah.
As an example, traffic being flat, I view that as a good thing now.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're one of the few that's not getting decimated, that means you're doing something right. Now, I have a lot of examples of this, but one thing that comes to mind is you have a lot of top of funnel decay.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of the decay is coming from my experience. A lot of like the /library content, /glossary content, /FAQ content, really top of funnel consensus informational stuff just getting decimated. I've made the case to let's stop chasing our losses on traffic decline and let's just shift to BOFU. Let's just shift to bottom of funnel, even though it's longer tail, less volume. Even the query fan out method, I've been approaching content strategy with a bit of a different mindset lately. So what's happening is that traffic decline from top of funnel is going down at an aggressive rate. Yeah. We can't recoup that from the BOFU gains that we're making because that's more longer tail and lower volume. Yeah. But if brand is helping us bridge that gap a little bit, then everything is maintaining at least at a baseline level or at a flat level to an extent. So we can't really make up the lost ground, but we can almost kind of stay at baseline flat levels. But if all that's happening while revenue is going up and traffic is flat, that's actually great.
Makes sense. Yeah, that decoupling you described, and this reminds me of another post you made on LLM kind of rank tracking and visibility. There's a decoupling in the middle of that, but I almost think about bottom funnel rankings. There's even an element on organic search where if you show up in those kind of like accordion, I don't know the technical name, like if you did a best CRM software, you often see the 9 links or whatever volume that have you open up to external links. You may not even go to those external links, but it's a high position. There's almost like a decent link, maybe more than before, between keyword ranking on transactional and actual demo requests across both surfaces, LLM. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Yeah. In fact, with a lot of the clients that I'm working with now, we want to do content that lends preference to LLM rankings. So there is like a favorability factor with certain content types, like the X best list, the comparison content. But I've also noticed that like a lot of LLMs are so good at specifically solving an intent for a client or for a prospect that it can go to like more product content, more feature content, help docs, integration pages, which through like traditional search, that doesn't really happen unless it's like branded intent. And so we are doing a lot of comparative crash the party pages as well. So
crash the party pages.
Yeah. Crash the party SEO. It's a cheeky technique, but I'd like to think that I've mastered it. It's where you compare 2 brands and then you insert yourself into that brand comparison, but you don't necessarily bash the competitors. You just position yourself as an appealing option where you highlight your strengths rather than really like highlighting their weaknesses so much. You just really make yourself a more appealing choice.
So hypothetically, you're a Microsoft Teams and Slack competitor. Is that a Slack versus Microsoft Teams article?
Yeah, that's the intent that you'd be optimizing.
But on your website.
Yeah, on your own website. Oh. Yeah. Like let's just say you are Campaign Monitor.
Yeah.
And you want to do Active Campaign versus MailChimp. You would do Active Campaign versus MailChimp versus Campaign Monitor, which is yourself.
Oh, okay, so three-way.
Yeah,
okay,
a three-way comparison.
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
interesting.
a three-way comparison. Yeah, I mean, the X versus Y is a no-brainer. You should be doing that no matter what.
Yeah.
But the three-way comparison is also very interesting.
Why I thought that was a unique angle, which there's pros and cons to. I agree that it's a no-brainer to do you versus competitor.
Yeah.
The variant of, obviously, there's also people doing competitor versus competitor in isolation that maybe you're capturing with that search. Maybe that's the idea.
Exactly. Yeah, you're piggybacking off of two other brand searches.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a very clearest transactional way to insert yourself. There's pros and cons of being able to rank for that by diluting the topic, right?
Yeah. Well, you can only rank so highly for stuff like that because those other brands, if they're doing, let's say, ads, then those brands are also doing, protective pages. Yeah. Then you can maybe get to, if we're talking in a classic sense, position 3 or 4, because you got to imagine there might be affiliates as well. Yeah. But I found that the affiliates are doing programmatic content. And so if you're doing more of this handcrafted, tailored content that's like way more comprehensive and it has a lot more love going into it, I've seen those outranking the G2s and the Gartners because they're just putting programmatic data together and it's all slapped together. And it works on the ultra long tail stuff because people don't do the handcrafted content.
Yeah.
But for the bigger brands, you are going to see a lot of the handcrafted content.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I agree. Even if you can't rank, there's going to be some consumer pessimism of like, is Slack going to give me a fair assessment of me versus them versus teams?
Yeah.
That you may actually have above average click-through rate curve for a lower position.
Yes, you might. And I think you have to be truthful and not so exaggerative in a lot of the claims that you're making on these pages. I think the legal terminology is puffery. Okay. You have to avoid puffery. But one technique that I like to employ on these pages is citing everything that you're saying backed up by a third-party reference or claim.
Okay.
So like, you can find what people are saying on Reddit about a certain tool's features or aspect that they like or they don't like, things that they don't like about the pricing model, pricing changes. You can find anything on, any third-party site and use that. Now, you don't want to do it in a way that seems cherry picking. Like, let's just say things people hate about Zendesk, and you do like 20 negative things in a row and you just cherry pick all the complaints. Like, you don't want to be doing stuff like that because it seems too one-sided and not believable. Mm-hmm. But if you find a nice balance, I think it can really work well.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of just, we'll often frame it to our clients like it's more about finding the people you are absolutely the best for than just like disparaging the other person.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And a way to like not go down the rabbit hole of should we do every possible competitor out there who even overlaps with us a little bit, because that could end up being, too many pages that are not going to attract the right people. You can rely on Google Ads data and auction insights because that will really, narrow it down to the relevance of the brands that come up maybe during competitive deals or who are bidding against your brand name and stuff like that.
Okay. No, that's a good tip.
Yeah.
So you have encountered a unique situation. I mean, everyone's getting asked about LLM visibility, tracking on Profound, Peak, Scrunch, your tool of choice.
Yeah.
And there's these dashboards that you create based on the prompts you input. Mm-hmm. You've seen a few executives get misled based on what they're seeing there. Could you explain that situation?
It can be very misleading. And it reminds me a lot of how organic traffic used to be blended.
It's one executive calling you.
That was an executive. That was actually a client calling me. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah. That's rare that they would call me out of the blue like that.
We should have taken it live.
Should have taken it live. Hey, what the hell's going on with our rankings?
Should we keep that in there?
We can keep it in.
Yeah, let's keep that in
I don't care. That actually was a client. That's hilarious.
You're talking about LLM visibility.
Yeah, LLM visibility. So one more important point that I wanted to make actually on the comparison content was this is stuff that really shows up a lot in LLMs because of the grounding factor. So I'm not a fan, and this leads into the prompt tracking. So this is a nice segue. Yeah. I'm not a fan of tracking prompts that do not recommend a tool and do not have website citations in the answers. So for example, if it's a very basic generic question about like, how to, do ABM for B2B marketing. It's just going to spit out the answer from its training data. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do that.
Yeah.
Step 3, do this, right? And there's going to be no brand recommendation. It's not going to say, try this tool. It's not going to say, check out these websites for more information, because the goal of the LLM is not to send traffic. It's to give you an answer. Yeah. And so if you're tracking a bunch of prompts where the answer is basically just getting scraped out of the training data, there's no chance of you getting a citation. There's no chance of you getting a brand mention. If you have a bunch of that stuff in your prompt tracking set, you're going to make yourself look bad, because the LLM visibility dashboard is going to say, oh, here's all these prompts where you're not showing up.
Yeah. And you're paying for prompt tracking you don't need.
And you're paying for prompt tracking you don't need.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it causes unnecessary questioning. So it's like, why do we have such low visibility in ABM category prompts? And it's like, if you click into it, it's all prompts that nobody has visibility in. There's no visibility for anyone.
Yeah.
And no citations for anyone. So that's one big thing for people to keep in mind. The next point is on the tracking. So this reminds me a lot of organic traffic blended. You used to be able to fool an executive. You used to be able to show overall organic traffic going up and them not knowing that 70% of it was brand. You just did an event. You're running, airport ads in Austin. Your CEO was just on a very famous podcast. You just maybe got a round of funding, whatever it is that caused that brand search to go up over time. SEO teams were taking credit for that falsely. It wasn't non-branded growth that was attributing that traffic growth. It was the overall picture. Now, the same thing can be happening with LLM prompt tracking. If you just show an executive a dashboard of your LLM visibility versus competitors, but like 50% of the prompts you're tracking are brand questions. Like, if I'm Zendesk, what's Zendesk pricing model? Of course, you're going to be the top recommended citation. Of course, your brand is going to be all over that answer. So if you have all those branded prompts in your tracking set and you are not segmenting non-branded versus branded, you will be misleading the executives, because you'll be showing them a faulty dashboard that has branded visibility, and you can basically fudge the numbers in your favor to make it seem like you're getting more visibility than you're not. And most executives don't know how to ask the right questions to understand that.
Yeah, that's a great point. It makes me, some tools, I know Profound does this probably intelligently. There's probably still value in tracking those depending on the company for sentiment. So is sentiment neutral, negative?
Oh, yeah.
But if they aggregate them with the non-branded terms, then 100% they're going to feel not so great about that.
That's right.
Yeah.
For branded prompts, my view is that you should be focusing on sentiment.
Yeah.
And looking for any negative things that might come up.
Yeah.
And finding a way to do online reputation in the event that negative stuff comes up.
Yeah.
But for non-branded, I think this is another important point. There should not be tons and tons and tons of prompts that you're tracking. Like, you shouldn't be tracking 500 prompts. Probably not even 100. Like, for most of my clients, just like I had money keyword lists for classic SEO, I have money prompts. I have money prompts.
You need another name. Maybe that's it.
It doesn't sound great, honestly.
Yeah, there's some, we can think of something.
I got to think of something better. I don't know. But yeah, like, basically it's the prompts that are going to recommend a tool or recommend a solution for any, what is the best software that does this? What kind of tool does this? What are the best alternatives to this? Anything that would lead to a purchasing decision, essentially.
Yeah, I like starting and just creating a map of their features and features/solutions, maybe industries.
Yeah.
And like, what is the best? And then add that different thing. And that's like a pretty sizable list. Sometimes there's long tail, not on that, and you don't get competitors in there. But
yeah, I think you could actually go kind of crazy with this, like, depending on, how many personas you sell into. Like, for example, I think IT teams, they might be looking for specific information on, like, integration documentation.
Yeah.
Whereas in classic search, let's just say a big deal is like Snowflake integrations. They might just search like, what tools integrate with Snowflake that do this. But for LLM prompts, they're going to get way more specific with that. They're going to, probably look for, ETL documentation for data pipeline between these two things.
Right. Yeah.
And so depending on how big of a factor that is for your purchasing journey, you got to cover your ground on those.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
So another post you just recently published was comparing ChatGPT conversion rates and Google conversion rates and maybe some misconceptions there. Could you dig into that a little bit?
Oh, that's a big one. So first I will say that there is a study out there that corroborates whatever narrative you want. I've seen, a different one from AmSiv. I've seen a different one from Seer Interactive.
Siege Media Doc.
Siege Media's got one. Yeah. Who else got one? Search Engine Land put out one on like e-commerce. So the point is like you can find a study anywhere you want because it's out there that will corroborate the narrative that you want. I got to start with that because this is a B2B SaaS mid-market example. And so this may only be relevant to B2B SaaS mid-market. Yeah. But it's still a finding that is consistent. It's a pattern that I'm seeing that's consistent as I look at more B2B SaaS mid-market, because that's really all I work with. So if that pattern is consistent across like every client, then I've got to believe there's something there. Yeah. So I'll start by saying that, I didn't want to lead by framing it that this is the absolute answer that is, blanket across sweeping, for everybody.
And most of your clients are sales assisted, right? Not self-service.
They're pretty much all sales assisted.
Okay. Mid-market.
Some of them have the PLG baked in with sales assisted, but the majority of them are sales-led content. Sales-led GTM.
Yeah.
Sales-led content. Yeah. All right. So where I was getting with that was conversion rates on Google versus ChatGPT. What I'm seeing. First of all, the number of conversions from ChatGPT compared to Google in like a given period might be around the same, but the amount of traffic that is being referred to the websites from ChatGPT is so small. It's like a tiny, tiny fraction of what Google search is sending. So by default, ChatGPT is going to have a higher conversion rate if you think about it. There's less traffic that's so much more targeted, so much more specific. That conversation between the chat bot and the user is just going to go back and forth, narrower until they get what they want. And then if they end up clicking, which that's the only way this attribution works, they have to click, the conversion rate is likely to be high.
Yep.
But there's also like a broken dark funnel SEO thing going on where a lot of people are not clicking from LLMs and going to the website. Maybe they're doing more research or they have to corroborate through Google to, validate what the LLM is telling them. So they're going to end or pause their journey through LLM and they're going to go to Google, probably search the brand directly, go right to the homepage, poke around. Maybe they'll convert on that session. Maybe they got to do even more stuff. Like the point I'm making to this level is everything is so fragmented that you're not going to be able to have that clean attribution that you want. Yeah. But getting back to it on the conversion rates. So Google sends so much TOFU traffic. The amount of top of funnel coming from Google is automatically going to dilute the conversion rate from Google search. So if you just look at conversion rates, sure, pretty much every study is going to say ChatGPT has way higher conversion rates than Google search. That just makes sense by default because of the way the systems work. ChatGPT sends zero top of funnel.
Yeah,
zero.
Yeah, zero. Nothing.
Zero.
Yeah.
Imagine if Google sent zero top of funnel.
We may get there eventually.
They may get there eventually. Yeah, with AI mode, that's probably the way it's going. But if Google gets to a point where there's zero top of funnel, then the conversion rates might end up being on par eventually.
Yeah.
But for now, because of the nature of how targeted ChatGPT and Perplexity and all them are, the conversion rates for LLMs are going to be bigger.
Yeah.
Just by default.
Yeah.
However, when you look into the deal sizes and the numbers, the difference that I'm seeing is staggering. It's staggering. Like in this one client example, the one that I published on my Substack, it was like average deal size around 200K from Google search, and then average deal size from LLM, 5K.
Wow.
So that could lead us to believe that, there's more tire kickers using these LLMs, more tire kickers going through the LLM funnel, going to the site and converting. There could be some other explanations too, like maybe the conversions from Google search are better informed because they have seen you at an event, or because they've seen your ads more, or because they, came from an affiliate source that went through Google, right? Like,
Yeah.
That could also be it. But generally, the data is showing for me on the client side for B2B SaaS mid-market that Google leads are way better in terms of deal sizes. And maybe we need to look at self-reported attribution to maybe close that gap a little more, because maybe big deals are coming in, but we're not getting that qualitative level feedback. Like on the forum, how did you hear about us? Oh, I was using ChatGPT and I narrowed you down and then went to the website. That's something that's kind of an unknown. So just like dark social, the Chris Walker term that was so famous, I think we're seeing that now with, do I dare say dark funnel SEO?
Yeah, we have that open attribution on our own website.
Yeah.
And I guess I would capture some of it, but I mean, we're such a unique dynamic though, because people want to find people that are doing geo through geo. That's kind of hypothetically.
Yeah.
But it's very similar to the previous note about SEO services through Google. Tire kickers. Getting a lot of volume, undoubtedly, that found us on ChatGPT, but there's quality leads. We've gotten Fortune 500 level range through those channels. But they're highly comparative. Still early, but I mean, that doesn't shock me.
Yeah.
You said, yeah.
I would say that another finding is like the biggest deal, like there's going to be whales that come in that throw the averages off. So like, for example, this client with Google search, there was a couple whales on the high 6 figures, right? But even the biggest whales on Google are much, much bigger than the biggest whales on AI LLM leads.
Yes.
So like the biggest whale we saw for this particular client through like ChatGPT was like a 30K.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's considered a whale because everything else is so small from AI.
Yeah, and that's actually fair.
Yeah.
The companies that were big that came through were still small deal size.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So, I mean, unless there's a way to close that gap on the dark SEO funnel, I guess we'll truly never know. But yeah, I mean, it's just leading me to this outcome of SEO attribution is cooked in the AI era.
So what are you saying to executives who are like, that's the case? How do I even know to invest in this channel? Like, what's your kind of reaction to that question? Is that a question you?
Well, it's still a channel.
Clearly,
it's still a channel. It's small. Potentially, it has more growth upside in the future.
Yeah.
It's still emerging as the days go by. Maybe adoption gets stronger. Maybe things become more agentic. Another way I've been positioning it is you can probably start thinking about AI LLMs the same way you do as social platforms in terms of the zero-click stuff, right? It kind of functions in the same way. Social platforms don't send traffic. It's zero-click. There's not much attribution that happens.
A lot of people...
It's eerily similar.
And there's a lot of underinvestment recently in those channels.
A lot of underinvestment in social. I mean, would you stop investing in social? You wouldn't.
Yeah, people who get it.
Yeah.
I know that dark social model is a little challenged when times get tough.
Oh, yeah. It's the first thing that gets cut.
Yeah.
Because the attribution isn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's challenging.
Yeah.
It's not ever, hopefully ever good. I mean, there's still a bottom funnel aspect we can always argue for.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how are you, we're so sprinting towards this bottom funnel idea. How are you advising clients on the top? Like, is there still a top? Where are they doing that?
Well, it's getting them back to the overall organic channel performance mindset.
Okay.
So I just did this year-over-year review with a client where we busted our asses. Like, we produced a lot of high-quality content, and traffic stayed flat the whole year. So back to that thing I said about top of funnel decay.
Yeah.
and the gains that we're making on the BOFU stuff, it's not even enough to create gains on the traffic front. So that question came up. How do we know this is working if traffic is going down? Well, we have to start looking at organic demo requests quarter over quarter, year over year. How's that trend? For this client, it was extremely positive. It was like triple. For qualified pipeline, how's that trend looking from the organic channel, quarter over quarter, year over year? That was like double.
Yeah.
So far, the revenue numbers are checking out. At this point, technically the conversation could stop. Technically, the conversation could be, look, revenue's up, so who cares? That's the Ahrefs mindset. If revenue is going up, why do we need to track everything and care about everything so much in terms of attribution and this and that? But, I don't do that, right? I give them the leading indicators because they want a story. They want the narrative. They're like, okay, what are we doing that's leading to these outcomes? So then you start reverse engineering it into the inputs and the leading indicators. The inputs are simple. It's content created, net new, content refresh, links being built, partnerships being established with other brands where you can get backlinks, internal linking, right? UX improvements, template improvements. Ways to get more on-page conversions by maybe putting a form at the top, any little testing you can do to squeeze more out of the traffic that you're getting, stuff like that. And so a few leading indicators that I've leaned on, which have worked. The positions in the top 10, classic. If that is maintaining or even growing or stable at least, but traffic is going down, that leads you to the AI overview topic.
Yeah.
Because you have a clear defensibility case here. You say, look, our top 10 positions are maintained, yet we're getting less CTR. Obviously, that's due to AIO. Yeah, so that's defensible. Another leading indicator that I've leaned on, which has been useful, especially for the BOFU argument, is traffic value from Ahrefs.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I have a few clients that are like on board with this as like OKR. Like I got to produce OKRs on Ahrefs traffic value. How crazy is that? I got a client every 2 weeks that's like, yo, I need an update on what's the traffic value from Ahrefs. I'm like, all right, here it is. Well, we're doing a lot of bottom of funnel content, so it looks great.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, these things are hackable, right? So if traffic value is an OKR for a client, that can very easily be hacked. All you have to do is go for the highest CPC terms and rank.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds easier. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
You still got to rank and execute and create great content, but that can be hacked to an extent.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can report on we're leading their conversions for sure. We had a history of like putting traffic first in our reports.
Yeah.
Not intelligently, but
yeah.
People wanted that. And it's not our team's fault, but people, they want that. So there's another thing you can do on the leading indicator side to put clients at ease or your boss at ease. It's only tracking what I call the money pages or the money keywords. Yeah.
Because these are far less volatile. So if you're rank tracking a bunch of stuff, again, back to the prompt tracking being irrelevant, you don't need to be rank tracking a ton of things. Just focus on the money keyword stuff. Even you can create like these regexes in Search Console that have like software, solution, vendor, best, right? This is going to isolate the money keywords automatically.
Right.
And so you can create these filters to show, look, traffic and impressions here are relatively stable. So the traffic that matters is stabilized. And if you're doing BOFU content, it should even be growing a little bit.
Yeah.
And so that saves you on the argument of traffic going down because you can reframe traffic going down as TOFU irrelevance.
Well, on that note, I mean, this is kind of one of my curiosities is you're describing SEO as purely, and maybe this is just true, evolving into, is performance channel the right word where it's kind of like dollar in, dollar out? It's not.
So Mike King and a lot of the pros say it's not a performance channel. It is a brand discovery channel. Executives just don't like that.
Yeah.
Right? Even though that's kind of what it's becoming, they don't
he has more consumer brands. That's good kind of like framing.
He's got more consumer brands. Yeah. He definitely works with like bigger like D2C brands and stuff. But like for B2B SaaS, like they're kind of old school. Like they still view it as performance. Like if you don't know how to piece together the storyline, you're cooked.
Right.
You just are, because they're going to eat you alive on the traffic going down thing. You're going to be like, and they're going to eat you alive.
Is there a cost to this? Like, in a world where only the bottom funnel exists,
yeah,
through search anyways, how does that change? We still would like to get in front of people on awareness.
Oh,
where
yeah.
On transactional, suddenly they'd be like, I'm going to that person because I'm aware. But how do we accomplish that? Or do we not worry ourselves with that activity and let the brand teams do that now?
Well, I have an interesting thought on this. Maybe not everybody agrees, but like, all right, getting back to the defensibility point. So one aspect that I didn't bring up was like the LLM visibility tracking.
Yeah.
You can show clients or your boss that, LLM citations are another important indicator you need to be referencing and showcasing and highlighting. So if the SEO content you're producing, I hate that term SEO content, by the way.
Yeah, we've actually reframed internally organic content.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like
that.
It feels better. It's just a better framing. But let's just say the content that you are creating as a organic channel team.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's us.
Let's go. You sort the highest amount of LLM citations in any of those tools, whether it's Scrunch. I'm no plug in particular. I'm not associated with Scrunch AI, but I just happen to use them because I like the founders.
Yeah.
But
we like Profound and we like Peak. We're currently using Peak because it was the more affordable solution, still very great product quality.
Peak is great. Yeah. I've seen the product. I like the founder too. He's cool. Both great companies, all great companies, really. I have no diss about any of them. But anyway, if you sort by highest amount of citations from your site and by page level, it's usually all the SEO content or the organic content. It's usually the comparative pages, the crash the parties, the X best lists. Of course, there's going to be some new things in there, like home pages. Mm-hmm. You guys had a great data point on that, where home pages are getting cited, referral clicks to home pages from LLMs are going up, seeing that consistently with every client. But more often than not, it's the X best lists, the comparisons, the crash the parties, the teardowns on, even competitor feature teardowns, pricing teardowns, stuff like that. Is X worth it? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I've seen that. It probably depends. I definitely on B2B, I see that a lot. I was just looking at it and sharing with the team today. In B2C, there was like a buying guide for a high ticket e-commerce product that was like X buying guide. There was product type versus product type.
Right.
So not exactly brand versus brand, but basically
style versus style.
Yeah. Am I defining this correctly?
Yes.
Showed up in their same list of like, what is the best X e-commerce product?
Yes.
But that's currently my way of thinking, is like taking that transactional list you talked about,
yes,
aggregate what URLs are getting sourced the most, see which ones are done by people like us that we can actually execute. And that should help prioritize those types of topics, like the product versus product comparison, not a competitor comparison. If we hadn't prioritized that, but the client actually cares about it.
Yes.
And it's in a space where like we have to be concerned that in e-commerce, it's 0.25%. But if CEO cares, I don't show up for that.
Oh yeah, Ross, another thing was if there's a topic that has a lot of fast changing ideas and it's constantly sort of like evolving, or there's like a new definition emerging, I find that LLMs, because they don't have that consensus, they need the grounding factor. So they need to go and reference like a lot of websites all the time to come up with an answer that's the most current and relevant.
Okay.
So something like that would be, for example, like I work with a engineering management platform. And one of the things that comes up all the time is, can you actually track developer productivity? Is there a way to do it? So there's constantly like analysts coming out with new, POVs on that. Like McKinsey says, yeah, you can kind of do it, but there's this. And then the SaaS platforms come out and say, yeah, we have a new methodology for doing it. Even another client with the concept of, GTM intelligence, market intelligence, GTM AI. What is it? How does it work? How do you build AI into your go-to-market processes? Because this is like an exploding topic.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brian Dean.
Yeah.
Anything that can be considered an exploding topic, even if it's not BOFU, it's going to get a lot of citations.
Yeah.
Because there's no consensus on it. In fact, I was talking about this with Bernard from ClearScope. We were talking about the necessity to inject information gain on top of consensus. Like, you can't be too information gainy without layering the consensus, because it won't work.
Yeah, okay.
You won't get surfaced because there's not enough consensus. So you need to have the consensus answer, but then you need to have the information gain on top of that in a way that's like additive, as like an extra layer.
Okay.
But you don't diminish the consensus point of view too much.
So that relates to kind of this news breaking idea. How, or does it?
Well, what he was saying was, he made a great point on this. The engagement is actually the thing that validates information gain. Okay. So think about this. If there was something that was very consensus, like, I don't know, what is ABM?
Yeah. Then AI shows up.
Yeah, and an AI shows up, and then your information gain is like so kind of out there that people don't agree with it. And like engagement is like really bad on that content. Like the clicks end up getting back clicked a lot, or pogo sticked, or time on page is real low. That's going to falter.
Yes.
Because there's no engagement-based validation on it. And if you think of how social networks work, like think about Chris Walker and his claim to fame, how he just took everything by storm. That was all information gained by default. He was spinning everything in a backwards way.
Okay.
And because the engagement was so strong every single time, and there was no gaming of it, right? Like there was no engagement pods, or you didn't see 1,000 comments that said like, great job, or yes. Like he wasn't gaming it. All that engagement was natural.
Yeah.
So that information gain is therefore validated by the level of engagement that it's getting.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so that also applies to SEO.
Yeah.
If he was doing SEO, he would have won. Like if he started putting out what is a go-to-market strategy with his new twist on it, he would have won.
It's an interesting observation, because I think a lot of people are grounded in the idea that this is like some specific SEO, like Google North Star initiative.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm hearing from you is that's just adding value to content in a lot of ways. It's not some specific checkbox they put in the algo.
It has to make sense to the people reading it. They have to believe it. Yeah. They have to engage with it enough to where the signals are strong enough that, okay, yes, this deserves to be where it is.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be something that's so wacky. Now, maybe you can try and hack this to an extent, because if you have a lot of other third parties that you reach out to include your data points to shape a narrative, because now there's corroboration. Now you have your information gain on top of a consensus page that's ranking, and you get other third parties to also corroborate your angle. Now you've built this sort of corroborative ecosystem on your point of view.
Okay.
Because other ranking pages are talking about it, or even low ranking or not ranking. That's how LLMs are going to start to surface your point of view more, because of the what's called co-mention.
Interesting. And it reminds me of a period. I mean, very smart Ryan Law did an article on sort of he's so good at this generally. Yeah. Like he had an article on don't be a content engineer or something you might have seen. It's on Ahrefs. You should check it out. We actually did a pod with Josh Spilker from AirOps, which was good.
Okay.
But anyways, he had the counter narrative down pat. It was very good. I think one of the catches of that, if people took that too far, is like you end up with like this spammy clickbait feeling blog where you're kind of like you have authentic takes.
Okay, yeah.
Of all of these.
I do.
This is your natural persona.
Yes.
If someone tries to processize that concept,
Okay.
it can be difficult, right?
You can't be artificially contrarian and win.
Yeah, that's a good way to frame
It just doesn't really work. Like, something comes to mind where when I was leading this SEO project at an identity theft company, Aura,
Yeah.
we had a lot of contrarian takes that were honest and they did well. So here's an example, right? Is insurance for identity theft protection worth it? Or do you need identity theft insurance? All the top ranking pages like the LifeLocks, the Nortons, the McAfees, all those legacy brands were like making a strong case for it. Oh, yes, you need it. If you don't get it, and then fearmonger of what happens if you don't get it. You're screwed. You're not covered. You could lose your life, like et cetera, et cetera. We were the only page at that time, at least, that said, well, you need it only if you can't do all these things. If you can't check your credit score manually and make sure there's no, funny business going on. If you don't have the time to manually log into all your credit cards and check for fraudulent activity. If you don't have the time to, et cetera, go through all those like financial and hygienic things you need to do to make sure fraud isn't happening in your life. If you don't have the time or patience or know how to manually do all that stuff, then you need it.
Yeah.
But if you're comfortable doing all that manual work, then great. You probably don't need it. And that works. We ranked. Now, maybe there's other factors at play, contributing to why we ranked, such as, momentum, authority, links. But I'd like to think that the counter narrative there, because it was honest, happened to work.
Yeah, that's true. And that's a good framing generally, is like, it's counter narratives versus information gain. Like technically a counter narrative is information gain, but it's like if you have an article on GTM something and you add AI to it just because that's so relevant now, that's not a counter narrative.
It's not.
That's just information gain.
Yeah.
And that may be a more palatable, brand friendly thing to do more often, where you have that ability to be like, it's this plus this, rather than it's the complete opposite of this thing.
Yes. I'm with that. I think it's a great topic. I think you just want to do it in a manner that's authentic, and you don't want to be stirring the pot or doing anything that's like artificial. Just to spark engagement, because I think you're going to do more harm than good.
Yeah, makes sense. So, I mean, we hit a lot of stuff. I feel like I still don't have an answer in my head, and maybe you don't either. We don't have a full answer to this. Is like, what happens to the top funnel?
Oh, yeah. What happens to the good old top of funnel? I don't know if anyone will agree with this, but I feel that top of funnel for SEO is basically going to be dead. It's going to be essentially zero. Let's make the bear case and the bull case for it, or the pessimist and the optimist case for it. The pessimist bear case for it is you're never going to get any clicks. You're never going to recommend any brands in TOFU queries. AI overviews are just going to answer that, right in Gemini. Whenever Google becomes AI mode, maybe 10 blue links will be gone altogether, and there will be very, very low, if any, clicks going to TOFU. And then we already know that ChatGPT and Perplexity, they just don't really cite any links when it's clear TOFU consensus. So therefore, you must generate TOFU by doing other things, such as events, social media marketing, YouTube, airport ads, car wrap advertising, advertise on podcasts, partnerships, whatever it is, to generate that buzz, brand, word of mouth thing. You got to go and do that. Or you do what the Siege Medias of the world do, the Ahrefs of the world do, the Seer Interactives, so on. You produce data studies, or you come up with like new, unique information that no one else has. You do stuff that like the Drifts from back in the day did, where they wrote a book on conversational marketing. You do these things that nobody else can replicate or do. That essentially becomes the new TOFU. Like, you can't out TOFU stuff that has been tofu'd to death, like answering definitional queries that have long been answered by every SaaS company out there. What is enterprise SEO? I remember searching enterprise SEO and seeing 10 blue links with the exact same meta title. What is enterprise SEO? What is enterprise SEO?
Yeah,
All the way down the
yeah.
line. You saw the same page just like that's not useful.
It's actually small business SEO. That's the counter
That's the counter narrative. Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. So that's my take on tofu. So that's the bear pessimism take.
Yeah.
The optimism bull take is you do it for topical authority. You do it for, semantic embedding to sound all fancy and cool. You do it for internal linking purpose. You do it for, you need those pillar hubs for the content clustering model. You do it to have linkable assets. You do it, why else would you do it? Because you have the tile ranking. You may still have the tile ranking in the AI overview, the little tile carousel.
Yeah.
It's unclear to me how many clicks, if any, those get. I don't know if there's any studies out there that can figure that out, but you can make the argument that having your brand there at least.
It's pretty low, unfortunately.
It's pretty low.
I think we looked at it once.
Yeah. But you can at least make the bull argument that, having the brand there as an impression thing on the tile is like valuable. Maybe you'll get a click. I can't think of that many other optimism cases for it though. Can you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say, it's not a ripping channel. I think there's value. It's not really top funnel when I hear you describe it. And actually I think about it again. But if it's findable, it's not so deep in your site architecture that users can find it easily. Like it's on the blog hub. Maybe it's in the top nav as like core assets like trends reports, data studies. Those are great.
Those are valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you repurpose it in some way? Like,
yeah.
But I generally agree the definitional top funnel, not a lot of value.
There's not a lot of value.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Will Reynolds, he had a great take on this. It was something to the effect of, if you have URLs that you compare how much social traffic they get versus direct traffic versus, say, SEO or organic traffic, and like there's no social traffic at all, but like it's getting, and there's no direct traffic at all, that means it's not getting shared privately in WhatsApp groups and stuff, and people are not buzzing about it. It's just made for search. Unfortunately, that's bad. And that's what a lot of tofu is, especially in B2B. Like I actually took a jab at all the cyber tech companies, because the first cyber tech company to do this glossary concept of like every single possible cyber attack out there was Palo Alto Networks back in the day. And then like every company copied it. And I mean every, Fortinet, Zscaler, Rapid7, Cyberhaven, like they all have done it, right? They just all do it. It's just for some reason for cyber tech B2B SaaS, the go-to SEO playbook, CrowdStrike, they all have one. It's a glossary of terms with all the same terms and all the same pages. And the only way that they outrank each other is who has more brand, who has more links.
Yeah.
There is zero information gain. And now I would guarantee it's like all AI slop. Majority AI slop. There's no analyst putting thought into any of those pages. Come on.
Yeah. The only like bull case for some what is like there's simple what is, and then there's complex thing. Like there's really a deep question in that first layer. Like maybe some cybersecurity topics or development related things where you're not going to get the answer in one sentence.
Right.
Maybe it's multimodal. You need graphs and visualizations to represent the concept. That's at least holding up a little bit better. And I think more argument. That's the only.
Well, I saw Ryan Law himself, and I love him. And he came out with a great post. It was a while back, but he said the value of educational business blogging is zero. Yeah, like it was a while. I got to find the post. We'll put it in the show notes. It was a great
counter narrative.
It's a great counter narrative. Yeah. And Peter Caputa, the guy who is running DataBox, he came out with a similar post saying business blogging value is zero. It's zero. And I actually kind of agree to some extent, but only if you isolate to the TOFU stuff. Because if you're going to do TOFU,
that's sort of what they're saying. Yeah.
That's sort of what they're saying. Like, here's my view of what the new business blogging is. It's LinkedIn posts. It's your personal brand. It's YouTube. It's Substacks. It's beehives. And why is that? Because most of what you read, especially on business, corporate, SaaS blogs, there's no real authorship to any of it.
Yeah.
Let's be real. It's all ghostwritten. All of it. Full stop. Maybe 1% of it, somebody from the company will review. Let me say this. Almost none of it is fully written by somebody from the company.
Yep.
SEO programs that are producing BOFU, I'm doing this. We are using external writers, but getting it validated by internal PMMs. This is getting reviewed. It's a collaborative process, but then it's getting authored by somebody at the company. But I would argue that for so many of them, not even that's happening. It's just an external writer putting together content, slapping somebody from the company's authorship on it, and they're calling that EEAT. No way. No way, right? And so why is Substack so much more valuable from that standpoint? Because you are forced to put your personal name on something, and you are promoting that as yourself. So you better have written that, or at least have done like most of the work that you can stand by. Because if you're launching a Substack and you're outsourcing that, that's crazy to me.
I totally get that from a consultative approach, but
yeah,
you have clients doing that, like mid-market SaaS doing that?
Doing Substacks?
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought that's where you're.
Oh, no way. No way. I'm just making the point that some CEOs are doing it, right? Like some CEOs and startup founders are doing the whole founder-led marketing thing. Yeah, they're running Substacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're getting a lot of engagement, building a following that way. I don't know of any corporate SaaS brands doing a Substack. That would be really interesting.
I would just...
That'd probably fail, though.
Yeah.
It would fail because when that person leaves the company, the Substack implodes. There's nobody to take it over.
It's not the...
It's the same reason why there's no loyalty with corporate SaaS newsletters. Like, when I see yours come, Ross from Siege Media, I'm reading it.
Appreciate that.
When I see, maybe to some extent, there's some interchangeability there, but like even Ahrefs, the same guy has been sending it. Siquan.
That is our team drafting that, I'll be honest with you. But I do approve what's there. I approve the list. I suggest changes.
But still, I know that you're real.
Yeah.
When it's like Sally from Zendesk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it just has this soulless, dry approach to it. Like, I don't know, corporate SaaS newsletters are just like, I don't know anybody who's excited about them.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. It's tough times for TOFU. But yeah, there's still I think that organic, like, is there value outside of it?
But like, why not just transfer all TOFU to YouTube and social?
Some percentage of customers won't ever watch a YouTube, maybe.
Okay.
I've heard that before. Have you not? Like, some people will not watch videos. They're just not there. I've never seen, my wife is no longer she used to work for Eloquaw.
Okay.
Never seen her watch a video on YouTube.
Fair. It's an interesting discussion, man. Everybody's got different ways they want to consume content, Some are podcast only. Like, it's hard to say what is going to be the new TOFU. I guess the whole point is like, what happens when AI mode becomes the new default? Because that's where all the evidence is sort of like hinting at the moment.
Yeah.
I've got to believe it's coming. And so when that comes, that's going to be the final nail in the coffin. Because the little bit of TOFU traffic that still exists today is primarily through the 10 Blue Link system.
But they got to retain the incentive system of like the open, who's going to create that same content for that new top funnel? Or is it simply because we can have it temporarily?
So my theory on this is because the training data has already been extracted for so long, and that it doesn't really change on the majority of these consensus informational queries, right? Back to the information gain. There's not a lot of room for information gain. And I don't know how often these training data sets get refreshed, so to speak, but there's no need. They have the answers. It's never going to change. What is ABM is never going to change. What is SEO? That changed because of AI.
Well, you say that. I mean, I think of two. I mean, there's post-COVID, everyone had to modify so much consumer content.
Yeah.
Post-AI, if your articles didn't say I mean, AI would also understand that and likely at least tweak it, even if it doesn't index it. I just think there's got to be some degradation over time.
Let me run this by you, Ross. So I have one client that's very AI forward thinking and very open-minded. So we can do a lot of experimentation. This is cool. So we did, what is the X best insert SaaS for 2026? Masterpiece page, it ranks highly. It does the job for the core head best software term.
Okay.
It's a list page. It ranks. It does very well. Then we had this theory of what about like long tail variants of that? Like, what is the X best software that has reporting capability, advanced reporting capabilities? In classic SEO, we would never have built another page to dial into the reporting aspect of the SaaS. What we would have just done is have that get soaked up by the main head term page.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Because we would be talking about reporting capabilities in the main mega page. And because the volume would be non-existent essentially for the reporting or negligible, it wouldn't justify the effort of creating a new page. And in fact, it would likely even cannibalize.
Yes, that was where my brain went.
Yeah. It would likely even cannibalize, right? So hear me out. We said, you know what? Let's just roll with it. Let's just see what happens. Let's go and build a new page about the X best software that have advanced reporting capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, it's just a regurgitation of the original page. It's not a carbon copy, but it's a regurgitation.
With variations.
but it's more reporting focused.
Yeah.
It's very much reporting focused. And when we search in Google that query for the long tail intent on the reporting, something incredible happened. And this has stuck now for like a few weeks, so I think it's going to stick, and this is the way it's going to be. In the AI overview with the tiles, the answer from our page is extracted in at the top, and our long tail page is featured as the tile, the number one ranking tile. When you go into the blue links, the other page is there.
I've seen double stacking more often. More often.
So there's like a double occupancy SEO game potentially for some of these long, what I'm saying is that the cannibalization effect of classic SEO may be less of a threat now because of the AI factor. Like it may, like to me.
Oh, because they want more information gain by default.
Yeah. And also what is the goal of AI? To give you the most relevant answer.
Okay. Yeah.
Like this wouldn't have worked in classic search.
Right. Yeah.
Like the long tail page would have been buried or not indexed because it would have been considered to be too similar or something like that. It would have been hard to rank that one or index it even. Where now, like AI overviews are the precursor to AI mode.
Yeah.
In an AI mode only world, guess what happens to those 10 blue links? They're gone. Guess what happens to that chunky head page if you're searching for the reporting aspect? That page is gone. It's not there.
Right.
The AI overview is going to default to the most relevant. Long tail, bang. But for now, because the 10 blue links still exist, you've got the opportunity to double stack on the AI overview. Maybe someone will click that, maybe they won't. The 10 blue links, maybe they'll click the chunky page, the head term page that has, a lot more information in bulk. It's less focused on reporting. But you can, to an extent, get away with, put that in air quotes because, who knows what will happen. But that's an observation I've been seeing is you can potentially double stack with long tail and AI overview. And if you have a head term page that gets the classic ranking, that could still be there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
another just side effect thought you made me have is I wonder with ChatGPT and LLMs and AI mode and Gemini, if the natural length of the average searcher's query, even on Google, is elongating. So are they
Ah,
doing longer searches on average on Google because of these other tools? I would could see that it probably is very subtle over time.
I think about my own behavior, and yes,
Yeah,
it is getting longer.
yeah.
Um, I still think in an AI mode world, it's going to be much longer because of the automatic follow-ups. Like the automatic follow-up prompts seem pretty long.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Would you like me to look into the best reporting tools that also have pricing that you want under this, whatever, right? Like,
Yes. Oh, and then that you can
and
auto
then
kind of
that you can
select.
auto kind of select.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So those are long tail. But I have found myself even searching Google in a way that's like more natural language, to be honest.
Yeah. So it's been great. We could go 2 hours. Props whoever's made it this far in the conversation.
Yep.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
This is a banger, Ross. Let's go.
Exactly. If there was like one thing you'd present to these executives to kind of wrap it all up that would change the conversation, or you suggest people do around GEO, SEO, like what is that thing you would share?
Yeah, I think it gets back to the illumination of the dark SEO funnel. I know that sounds like whoa, but the first step in that is getting executives to be weaned off of the traffic. That is a big step that needs to happen. That happens through education, patience, and then piecing the storyline together strategically with the data that you have.
Yeah.
So you want to start with overall organic channel performance again, pipeline, qualified demo requests, that should be moving in the right direction. You want to rely on some self-reported attribution if possible. I think there's a lot of gold in there that's not being extracted.
Yeah.
And that can help, close some of these gaps. And then lean on the leading indicators. LLM citations from the organic content pages that you're creating. How are you maintaining in the top 10 ranking positions? Because if those are stable, yet clicks are going down, you have a defensible argument.
Mhm.
And I think that's really a good one. And then traffic value. If you want to look at some other stats that can be interesting, show that, hey, we're focused on more commercial intent. Therefore, the traffic that is coming in has higher CPC value. That can be defensibility as well. And then the input metrics too matter. Like you want to show that like things are happening.
Yeah.
If you're not updating content, keeping content fresh on like a quarterly or at least 4 or 5 month,
Cadence.
revolving date basis, yeah, it's going to be tough. You want to be doing query fan out approach to your content strategy. I think like targeting big chunky head terms is kind of like an old approach that's not going to work well. Yeah, these are just some things to come to mind. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we spent a lot of energy on reporting this year. Literally was in all hands talking about reporting structure today. We'll continue to preach that to the choir.
I like
sure.
it. Last one for you, Ross, before we sign out. Branded traffic.
Yeah.
Homepage traffic. Increases to the pricing page, right? Are these things in your mind that help create a more defensible SEO storyline in the AI era?
On page 6 of the report. I think if you're linking that to the LLM visibility growth, as you noted, I think you're absolutely correct that it may misrepresent it if it's PR, if they're doing other things as well. But if there's a very similar cadence to that graph of LLM visibility compared to, and also rankings, I guess, as we speak through organic bottom funnel rankings, if those are increasing 1 to 3, 1 to 10, I would expect that. I think it's a reasonable argument to make.
I think that's a great point. You reminded me of something I did with a client. We just did a meta title change on a homepage to rank for a non-branded term.
Yeah.
Shot up to number 1, skyrocketed clicks. That's value.
Yeah.
That's SEO value. It's an easy win, but nevertheless a win. And maybe last thing I'll toss at you, how about LLM referral traffic going to the homepage or going to the pricing page? I think that's value.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't count that. I don't think there's like truly navigational search on LLMs.
Yeah.
I mean, there's navigational. Yeah, we talked about brand searches that have refinements that I guess could happen that way. So which we don't have clarity to, but
Yeah.
I expect that to be.
I mean, I have seen in some cases like LLM prompts for X best queries where the homepage has such a strong association with that it just goes there because of the brand.
Yes.
The citation for the homepage comes up ahead of like a product page even.
Right.
So that could be massive value.
Yeah,
You just got to be able to, highlight that and tell the story appropriately.
Yeah. Well, I think a great way to sign off is to say, this is top funnel right here. This podcast, not every brand should do this. But
yeah. I mean, there's no sales intent here. We can't, we can't pitch you anything. No BOFU.
Yeah, we have nothing to sell here.
We got nothing. All right.
Thank you, Gaetano. This is amazing.
Thank you, Ross.
Appreciate it.
Peace.